Very good morning, class. So today we are going to continue with our lecture with proficiency testing. So what is proficiency testing? Proficiency testing is a tool used to improve laboratory performance. So in this lecture, we are going to learn about proficiency testing. Okay, proficiency testing as a quality tool, the purpose and types, benefits of proficiency testing participation strategy, selecting fit for purpose of PT schemes and interpretations of the PT results. So basically, proficiency testing is used as a quality tool to evaluate the performance of a method. Okay, so under the measurements, so we can divide it into the reliable measurements and reliable decisions. So in order to take a reliable decision, the measurements should have all these components, okay, which is compliance, health, security, trade. Okay, so now class, this is the measurements cycle, which is okay, this is the client part and this is the analyst part. Okay, so as we can see here clearly, client part, so the client will bring on issue. Let's say they are suspecting something in the water sample, so they will define the issue here. So as a chemist, we should do the decision on the measurements, okay, upon discuss with the client. Then of course we have to think about the sampling, analysis, okay, evaluation and a report on the measurements. And make sure class, the report should be the report that it should be easily understandable by the client. Then after that, data evaluation, decision on the results, and it will go back to the client. So this is the basic measurement cycle. Okay, here, so quality assurance system. So this is the reference material. So method validation, during the method validation we will use the reference material and the output of the measurement system. Okay, we can evaluate by using the PT scheme. So class, what is PT scheme? Okay, here I'll just explain a very simple definition for PT scheme. So class, proficiency testing is basically is a test conducted by an authorized body. Okay, for example, analysis of ammonia in water. If let's say we have 10 labs from different states, okay, they are conducting the same experiment and they just want to evaluate whatever that they are doing is right. So who will measure, who will give them a report so they can participate in the PT scheme which is organized by a certain body. Of course they have to pay for that. So all these 10 labs will send the reports, okay, how they are performing, the results. Okay, the same thing, okay, they will just follow the instruction given by the PT scheme and they will just perform the PT scheme. I mean, they will just perform the analysis and they will just send the results to the PT scheme owner. That means that the person that conducting the competition, in a way. So what they will do, they will at the end of the day they will come with the report, okay, saying that okay, this lab is okay and this lab the measurement is slightly plus minus, is something like that. So the difference between the 10 labs should be almost there. Okay, if let's say difference is so obvious, I mean, it's, let's say it's very obvious, means then something is wrong with our lab. Probably we have to think of the um, steps to overcome that mistakes. Okay, so class, okay, bear this in your mind. PT scheme is not to penalize you. Basically PT scheme is to improve whatever that you are doing in your laboratories, example your lab skills and whatever mistakes that you are doing. Basically PT scheme will help you to overcome from that mistakes. So class, here there is few definitions. Okay, in the analysis we will use CRM, which is certified reference material. Is basically for the careful development and validation of the method. Okay, well, traceable standard used for accurate calibration of instruments and appropriate equipments, while reference materials used by the qualified and competent staff. And reference materials and QC. So by the purpose will be the well-defined QC and QA procedures. Well, RMs and PT, which is reference material and PT, it's basically to compare the measurements made in other laboratories. So PT scheme is basically an independent evidence of the performance. So here, proficiency testing. Okay, what are the purpose, types, and benefits? Here class, the main aim of proficiency testing is to provide the infrastructure for a laboratory to monitor and improve the quality of its routine analytical measurements. So, PT scheme is to improve the performance of the participants and give confidence in the participants' ability to perform a specific measurement. So, the reports that given by the PT provider, okay, it will give us the confidence that, oh, okay, we are doing we are in the right track. Okay, so if let's say the report is giving you a positive comment, which is very good. If let's say the report is slightly a bit negative, or there is some negative points, okay, we have to take that as the lesson for us in order to improve that, so that we don't do the mistake in future. Okay, and apart from that, PT also provides information on other aspects of the management system. For example, the how to receive and how to treat the samples, treatment of the data, how to report the results, and so on. So class, here we have various types of PT, okay, available, okay, based on one or more elements of four different categories. Well, the first category will be qualitative, which is descriptives. Quantitative is numerative, and interpretive is no measurements in. Okay, and the second one will be the pre-measurements, measurements, and post-measurements. Third one will be the sequential or simultaneous. Okay, well, here class, sequential participation scheme structure. So here we have PT provider, test item. Okay, so we have, let's say, lab 1, lab 2, lab 3. The test results will be out, so it will go to the PT provider. So they will do the evaluation, then the report will be given, then the performance will be monitored. Well class, as for the simultaneous scheme structure, so PT provider to the test items, okay, then it will go to the laboratories, okay, how many laboratories are participating, test results, PT provider, evaluation of the result report, and monitoring the performance. So this is the simultaneous, and the previous one will be the sequential. So here class, the types of the PT available, okay, basically type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4, which is single and continuous. So here class, what are the basic use of PT for a laboratory? Basically class, PT proficiency testing is used to assess the performance for the conduct of specific measurements of calibration. So the results and information that we receive from the participation, okay, from the participants, okay, will provide the laboratories, okay, the confirmation that the laboratory performance is satisfactory. Okay, and if let's say there is an indication that there are some potential problem, so that the correction act can be made as soon as possible. Okay, so however, the use of PT should be more wider, because many additional benefits from PT party, okay, from the PT scheme. So here class, these are the benefits of PT to laboratories. Okay, so these are the during the benefits of the PT is method, in the method or procedure evaluation, performance comparison. So by using with all this data, actually we can evaluate the performance of. So class, how to maximize the benefits of PT? So in order to obtain the optimum benefit from PT test, the laboratory should always treat the PT scheme test items as routine sample. How they do the routine analysis, that is how they have to treat, they have to do the test in to join the PT competition. For example, class, let's say there is some PT scheme test items, okay, they must use the test item, and the results that they obtain, they have to send to the PT provider. So they shouldn't do any special treatment, they have to treat the sample how they will do daily. so daily routine, so that we can know if there is any potential problem. Okay, we can know, okay, from where the problem coming. Okay, and we must also vary the chemist, in a way, analyst, okay, testing the test item, so that we can know who is doing mistakes, and vary the instruments as well. So class, to learn from the PT test, laboratories, what they can do. The laboratories, basically they can use the scheme results to give a feedback to laboratories procedures and staffs. Okay, the feedback can be both positive and negative. Use the scheme results uh, in a positive way. So be honest, scheme is to help. Okay, so it's it basically PT scheme is a education, it's not a regulation. Okay, please that take into mind, class. So the participation strategy. So class, let's move on to the strategy to join PT scheme. So all the laboratories need to develop a proper PT strategy, okay, to join PT test strategy. And basically all the laboratories also have to decide an appropriate level and frequency of joining or participation. So as such as level, okay, number of specific proficiency tests, okay, in which to participate, and frequency, how often the laboratory will participate in each of the specific tests identified, and this specific to the laboratory circumstances. So the guidance provided by the European Cooperation for Accreditation, okay, can follow that guidance in order to join the PT scheme. Okay, so class, level of PT participation. So we must consider the areas of technical competence based on the measurements technique, property to be measured, and products to be tested. So all the areas like technical competence may encompass several products, properties, and also measurements techniques. So the laboratories must also be able to demonstrate equivalence within each area of technical competence. So class, these are the levels and frequency of PT participation. So important to consider a number of different aspects. For example, QA measurements implemented, use of CRM, comparison of independent techniques, participation in validation or characterization studies. Okay, so the level of risk is basically class, no measurements undertaken, turnover of technical staff. So these are the all the risk, okay, when joining the PT. So staff's experience or knowledge, okay, sometimes is lacking. So known stability or instability of measurements technique, and significant and final use of the data. Okay, sometimes all these can put us in risk, okay, when we are joining in PT. So different types of PT can be used, okay, different difficulties of PT participation, example, technical characteristic of measurements, low number of laboratories, and so on. So now, proficiency testing, selecting fit for a purpose scheme. So class here, so basically we have to consider, or we have to decide which scheme is fit for our purpose. So when we want to choose a PT scheme, we have to choose according to the purpose. Okay, it should fit for the purpose that we are looking for. Okay, and the number of factors that we have to consider are test items. This is very important thing. When we want to join the PT scheme, we have to consider all these factors like distribution, participation, participants, results, reports, and PT provider. The PT provider, of course, should be someone that well known in the field, so that the certificate that they are giving is, it's we can use that, okay, for further action, like it's valid, the certificate be valid and recognized. So class, selection factors, for example, test item. When we are talking about test item, we have to talk about the metrics, parameters, and concentration. Okay, well, distribution like date available, frequency, and flexibility. Okay, then participants like national or international, language can be another one big problem, and methods. Because when we are talking about method, okay, there are so many methods, okay, to do one analysis, just that the analysis will be the same, but the method will be different because we have so many guidelines as well. So results to the deadlines, reporting the mechanism, and statistical approach, what type of statistical approach that we are going to choose. Okay, is it ANOVA or something like that? So report, so language information format, and the PT provider. So class, here the PT provider, okay, when we are choosing a PT provider, we have to investigate their background, such as the PT scheme is really meet our scope or not, the competence of the PT providers, and the experience of the PT provider, which is very important. So interpretations of the results. So class, performance evaluation. So limited values unless the performance evaluated. So evaluate after each round and also over the time. So interpretation of PT performance concern all management levels. So here class, again, PT is not passing or failing, it's about learning from the results. So review of the single PT round performance. So class, results of each PT round should be evaluated regardless of the performance. So a satisfactory results may not mean good performance. Unsatisfactory performance in one round doesn't indicate the performance is not competent. Probably they might facing some other problem. So by joining the PT scheme, so we can basically identify what are the problem that we are facing in our laboratory. So important to consider the number of factors, basically the overall results in the round, the test method performance, the test item factors, bimodal result distribution, and PT scheme fact. So class, the results basically, okay, here showing the trend in the PT performance. So trends are basically available in preventive and corrective actions, and the root cause analysis as well. So the performance over the time, common group of determinants, performance of the method, and performance of the analyst. So we can by doing all these, actually we can observe the trend, okay, in the PT performance. So for example, if let's say the need for an investigation, so basically all the laboratories will occasionally will have unsatisfactory or questionable PT results. So a laboratory, they might establish its own criteria for when an investigation is necessary. So the depth of the investigation will depend on the number of factors. For example, how critical the method is, the frequency of unsatisfactory results, and the evidence of bias. So it's basically the management will use the report from the PT provider to improve and to take the further action. So causes of the unsatisfactory performance class, it can be due to the analytical or non-analytical. If let's say analytical means it could be due to the calibration curve, instrument problem, extraction, the sample pretreatment, during the sample pretreatment, interferences, method performance, and because of the chemists as well. And non-analytical, it could be due to the calculation units, reporting format, and so on. So class, in conclusion, proficiency testing is a powerful quality tool, okay, to all the laboratories, those making the measurements. So PT participation brings many benefits, okay, and it also enables measurements to be monitored and improved, and it is very powerful quality assurance tool, okay, to get the laboratory accreditation. In order to get the ISO 17025, all the method have to verify, or we should join PT scheme few times, and we have to get the good report, so that all these reports can be used as a supportive document in order to submit for the ISO 17025 accreditation, okay, for a certain method or certain lab, they, to get the ISO 17025. So um and apart from that, PT drives laboratory quality. For example, proficiency testing, okay, with that, we can provide reliable measurements, and of course when we do reliable measurements, we can able to come with the reliable decisions. So with that class, thank you for listening, and if you have any question regarding the proficiency testing, please drop an email to me. I will reply your email. And class, thank you so much for your cooperation, and stay safe and stay home. Thank you so much, class.